Sure.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. As part of our International Women's Day series, the WICCI National Aviation Council, in collaboration with the Indian Women's Pilot Association, presents a special fireside chat featuring pioneering aviator Mohini Shroff. Mohini began her aviation journey in 1959 at the Bombay Flying Club, becoming one of India's earliest women pilots at a time when aviation was overwhelmingly male-dominated. She is the founding member of International Women Pilots Association and a charter member of the 1990s India section, helping build a supportive ecosystem for women entering aviation. In 2003, she made history as the first woman to participate in Air Race India, organized by the Aeronautical Society of India, a milestone moment for the women in Indian aviation. Today's conversation will explore the early days of women entering aviation in India, building institutions and networks for women pilots, and the evolution of opportunities for women in aviation. Join us to celebrate a true trailblazer in Mohini. Welcome, Mohini, and look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Rakhee. Good evening to everybody.
Good evening, Mohini. So, Mohini, I know we had a conversation, when we were planning this event, and you took me back to 1959, and you explained how the world was at that point of time. So, could you tell our listeners how you got into aviation in 1959, and what were your, first impressions? What were the struggles of those days? What were the opportunities and the entire landscape of aviation for women as in 1959?
Rakhee, I started work at the age of 18 because I'd lost my father at the age of 10. And I was going through the newspapers and I read an advertisement in the Free Press Journal, which said that 50 free flying scholarships will be awarded in the country. And Maharashtra was Bombay at that time. Bombay State was to get 5 scholarships. One was reserved for a backward class, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and one was reserved for a female candidate. During Mr. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's time, he wanted aviation to reach the middle class because it was a very expensive hobby or something to take up as a career also. And 3 were for the boys. So since I had started work at 18, and the ad said that minimum qualifications would be matriculation and income should be not more than 500 rupees. Since I was working with the railways, my salary was 150 rupees with 3 rupees increment per year. I said, I am covered by this. My income is not more than 500. So I applied for the scholarship. And then I received 160 questions sent to me just to find out that if the person responding to this ad and wanting to get into aviation knew anything about aviation. I knew nothing about aviation. I was just working and I was going to college at that time. So I applied for it. And when I received the questionnaire, I took help of my brother who was in Bangalore, who had visited the gliding club in Bangalore to help me respond to these questions. And they had said that you can come to the nearest flying club and find out for yourself how to reply to these questionnaire. So I replied to that questionnaire and then they called me for a personal interview. And before the personal interview, they called us for a written test because they wanted to know what is our ability for physics, maths, aviation being sort of a scientific career. So when I got the paper, I appeared for the exam, and I cleared the written exam. And then they called for a personal interview, and there were about 3 instructors sitting on the board and questioning, like, how did you get involved in aviation? I said I had got a job as an air hostess, cabin crew, but my mom did not let me join because I was the breadwinner and there was She felt it was a dangerous thing to fly. At that point of time, people were fearful of flying. And so they asked me that, what is your height? I said, I'm 5 feet 2 inches. So they're telling me, do you think you'll be able to reach the rudder? I said, I'll wear high heels if I can't wear. So naive I was,
Beautiful
like they
answer.
didn't know anything about aviation. So they all burst out laughing. No, 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 no. You don't have to wear high heels. We'll give you cushions to see the length of your legs
Mhm.
from the waist on, how you could reach the rudder. I never knew driving. I didn't know anything about aviation. But then they encouraged me, and then I got a 50 free flying scholarship for getting a private pilot's license. And duration was 1 year. In 1 year, you have to complete the 50 hours. And I was asked to pay a deposit of 500 rupees advance to the Bombay Flying Club, which I didn't have. Borrowed money from my mom's sister and deposited 500 rupees. I was a working person. And then at that point of time, I was working. I was going to college, Casey College, and leave the house at 6:30, 7:30 to 9:30 college, then 9:30 to 5 o'clock the office hours, and I had to go every day to the flying club. How do I handle that? So I spoke to my officers in the Western Railway and said that I have got a scholarship and I need to go complete 50 hours within 1 year. So they were supportive, and I used to leave the college, come to the office. I would work for a little while, then I would sign the muster, go from Churchgate to Juhu to learn to fly, how to fly. And flying has its vagaries. You have to have calm winds as a beginner. You can't have gusty wings. And here I didn't know where the flying club at Juhu was. Along with a friend, we hired bicycles to go and see where Bombay Flying Club was situated in Juhu. So that kind of a struggle. But then, since I got support from my office, and I was also involved in sports in the Western Railway, and used to play hockey and joined the athletic teams and all. So I was more inclined to sports, and that's how I got my private pilot's license. They gave me an extension. I couldn't complete within 1 year, but in the meantime, I dropped my education. I was in final BA with politics and economics, but I gave up studies to complete and get my private pilot's license. And then subsequently, after getting the private pilot's license, I continued as a hobby. In 73, in 1965, there was a lady called Isabel Hale Macrae. She was a nurse, and she had come on a cruise, and she was flying. She came to Bombay. When she touched Bombay, she was trying to find out if there is a flying club in Bombay, because we are looking for women who fly in India.
Oh,
So she
lovely.
came, yeah, and she wanted to see that some Indian women could become members of a organization called the 99s. It was formed by Amelia Earhart in
Mhm.
1929. She wrote letters to 110 women pilots in US, and since there were no women's organizations at that point of time, she wanted to see that we have float a women's organization only. And when she wrote 110 letters to the women flyers in US, 99 responded to her call letter to come and form an organization. And that's how they named it as 99s. And it was formed in 1929 by her. And Isabel Hale Macrae was promoting the 99s. So she came to the flying club at Juhu and was looking around, and she saw one lady coming out of a trainer aircraft. She was Rabia Fateh Ali, and she was flying in a sari. So
Mhm.
she was aghast that here are ladies in India flying in a sari. She
Mm.
took the address of the lady, and then they gave her the address of Chanda Savan Budhavati. She was a dynamic personality. She used to work with Gammon India, the engineering company from UK. So she immediately jumped on it and she responded to her. Rabia might have been a person who would not have responded also, because
Mm-hmm.
she was married. Her husband was flying, her brother was flying, her father was flying. So then Chanda wrote to them and said that we will love to be the members, but our government does not give us foreign exchange to give membership fees in US currency, dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, okay, we will sponsor y'all. And the Elkhorn Valley chapter in California, Southwest section, they sponsored 5 members from India, 5 girls from India, for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and they paid the fees and all that. And then we became members at large. To form India section, you needed 5 women to come together to form the section of India. Today there are 8,000 plus members, and in about 48 countries, which is amazing. And we want to raise it to 10,000. Their plan is to raise the membership to 10,000. So then in 73, we were invited to US for a convention. They have an annual convention, and we went there. And then in the convention, I met the governor of the Southwest section. Her name was Marian Barnick.
Mm-hmm.
And she invited me to California. And when I told her how expensive it was to fly in India, she said, "Can you stay back and get your commercial and go back?" I
Wow.
said, "Yes." I was working with the railways, and I said, "Yes, I can." But I don't have the funds. So they said, "We'll take care of it." And they paid for everything. They gave me a scholarship, the Southwest section. She was the governor. They gave me a scholarship, and she housed me as a house guest.
Oh my God.
And for
Okay.
3 months, she was an auxiliary Air Force pilot. She had
Okay.
her own plane. So she told the other 99s who were instructors and who could help me with the ground school. I had to appear for exams over there. In 3 months' time, she groomed me, and she saw that every 99 helped me. And they gave me my commercial license on a platter. I didn't pay a penny. I didn't pay any
Wow.
lodging, boarding, nothing. So that's the spirit of 99s, which exists even till today. Then we formed our own India section. We've got 5 charter members: Durba Banerjee, Chanda Budhabati. This was the brainchild of Chanda Budhabati to see. And then we became a sort of, uh, came together. And in 19, when I got in the scholarship in 59, in 1960, there was an ad in the paper saying that applications for GD pilots posts are invited
Mm-hmm.
uh, for the auxiliary air force. Minimum qualifications, matriculation, age 21 years, and so on. And flying will be considered as an additional qualification.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am, I have just logged about 8 to 9 hours, and I'm feeling so happy. I've got additional qualifications. I can apply for the job. So I applied for the job, but they did not send me the form. So I had an Air Force instructor with me. He
Okay.
says, "See that they've not sent you a form. Why don't you go to their office and tell them to give you a form?"
Mm.
So I went to their office, and I was wearing glasses. I put my glasses in my bag because I knew they may say that we need normal eyesight, 6 by 6.
Mm.
So when I asked for the form, they said, "Sorry, ma'am, we've not sent you the form because women are not eligible." I said,
Wow.
"But your advertisement says the applications from candidates are invited.
Mm.
I'm a candidate. You
Mm.
don't say it's applications from male candidates are invited. Who do I contact?"
Wow.
So they said that you'll have to write to the air chief
Mm-hmm.
and to the defense minister.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a friend whose brother was an advocate. So I told him that this is an ad. I have applied. They're not giving me the form, and they say women are not eligible. How can you help me to represent my case?
Mm.
Uh, So then he gave me the points, and I wrote a letter to the first Air Chief, Air Marshal Subroto Mukherjee, and India's first Air Chief, and to the first Defense Minister of the country, Mr. Krishna Menon.
Yeah, yeah. Incidentally, you've shared those, pictures of those documents, and it's lovely to see them, because it's like a memorabilia for us. But I'm trying to pull up the pictures at the end of the session. I hope I'm able to do so. But, please continue on those communications.
So then I wrote the letters and I sent a letter to the press. The same letter I sent to Free Press Journal to the editor's letters column. And Free Press Journal published it. And I wrote there, eligible Eve. I didn't disclose my name. I was a government servant at that time. So then that letter, you know how it is when something comes into the press, they wake up. So it
Right.
was a wake-up call for the air chief and the defense ministry and all that. Here's a person who has applied for a job. So they immediately sent a squadron leader from Delhi, squadron leader Bhatia, and the squadron leader Preston was here in Bombay in charge of the. They called me for an interview straight away without giving me a form or anything. So I went for the interview, and then I put my glasses in my bag. I'm talking to them. They're telling me, why do you want to encourage men even in this field?
Okay.
So I said, we don't know. I don't want to encourage men in this field, but I would love to share responsibilities with them and serve my
Wow.
country. So then they said, they were saying, but you're so petite, 5 feet 2 inches. I said, look at the foreign countries where they already have women in the Air Force and auxiliary Air Force. And I think, but they are so big made. I said, but flying is a skill. And I think Indian women can come into this field also. So then they think, but they had done a check on my background, like, they knew, found out that I was wearing glasses. I'm flying at Juhu Flying Club. I'm a scholar, a government scholar. I'm on a government scholarship program. So then they said that, ma'am, but we believe you're wearing glasses. I said, yes, I'm wearing glasses, but the vision is corrected 6 by 6. So at that point of time, we didn't have this correction with lasers and all that. Today it's a different world. And so then they said, at the medical, we don't mind sending you up for more interviews, but at the medical stage, they will not recognize this and they may stump you. I said, that's fine.
What is very interesting as you're telling the story is this: at every step, there was a certain hindrance which was kind of, anticipated or put forward to you, and you were bypassing all those hindrances with the sheer grit and determination that you had at that point of time. It's amazing. Please, ma'am, continue with that story.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I had lost my father when I was 10, and I would bully my mother that she didn't let me go for the cabin crew job, thinking it's risky, and she didn't realize that this one trying to become a pilot now. And so then, it was some kind of inspiration that, what women have not done, why can't I do?
Right.
Yes, yes. So then they said that they'll stump you at the final stage. Then we realized in 1960, Chanda Sawan Bodhabati, who was really a pioneer, and we said, can't we form Indian Women Pilots Association and sort of take up this matter for women, that why women can't join the Air Force. So then we came together in 65 and we formed an organization. I became co-trustees of the organization, and early birds, some Rabia Fateli and Dr. Sunila Bhadekar was there. And then at that point of time, there was Durpa Banerjee, and from Kolkata. She was flying, and she was and Prem Mathur. These two ladies got their commercial licenses. And when we formed the Indian Women Pilots Association, we became the fifth national organization in the world,
Wow.
next to Australia, UK, and US, and all that. And then there were glider pilots. A couple of ladies were doing gliding, and I think Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru flew with Prem Mathur.
Okay.
Prem Mathur joined Birla's, yes. So then when Durba Banerjee was not getting a job, she got her commercial license. She wrote to Prime Minister Indira Gandhi that when you, as a lady, can become the Prime Minister of India, why can't I join Indian Airlines as a pilot? And then Mrs. Gandhi felt that, that yeah, they have a reason, and then Durba got a job with Indian Airlines as a pilot. She was the first one to join the Prem Mathur flew with the Birlas. Then subsequently she joined Indian Airlines, and then that took us further. Every new chief that came, we went to meet him, and we would represent our case with them, and they would sort of say that, look, we are not against women, but we are not ready with the infrastructure. We don't have hostels, we don't have toilets, and you all will be the first ones to complain that we don't have living quarters for you all. We will continue to work on this, and that's how. So from 1960 representation to 1990, 30 years it took them to open doors to women in Air Force. And today, the situation, how they are all over, like with Indian Air Force, with the Navy, with the Army, with the Coast Guards, and with fighter pilots. And so one lady in the US was quoting that the aeroplane does not know the sex of the pilot. Flying is
Wow.
a sex. It could be a lady or a male. And then came, after Durba Banerjee, came Captain Saudamani Deshmukh,
Mhm.
Captain Nivedita Bhasin,
She's
and
here with us today, Captain Nivedita Basin. Good evening to you, ma'am.
yes, thank you. And then they joined Indian Airlines. I met Nivedita when she was a glider pilot and only 17 years old, and she would go to Prem Mathur and tell her that she wants to fly, and she would get inspiration from her. And Captain Saudamini was working in a bank, and she gave up that job. When I got my commercial, I could not get a job with any of the airlines because Air India had pilots coming from airport. They had jet hours, and Indian Airlines had a ban on recruitment
Okay.
in the 70s. And there were 500 jobless pilots sitting on the ground working for pharmaceutical companies, banks, and other organizations. And that's how I couldn't. I continued as a private pilot and would fly on weekdays, kept it as a hobby in spite of having a comment. Then, when we became an organization by itself, we worked to see that the women can sort of. The, in fact, Sodamini became the first commander in the Indian Airlines. Durba Banerjee didn't get the command; she continued as a co-pilot. But Sodamini Deshmukh became the first commander. And in one flight in Kolkata, Captain Sodamini Deshmukh and Captain Nivedita Bhasin flew in a Fokker, and they had the cabin crew, all women. So they said, we had a flight today where we were all women. So I said, you have created world record, all women flight.
Yes.
Then they realized, yes, something big has happened. I said, then they reenacted the flight to get on the record of the Limca
Wow.
book and all that,
Yeah, I remember reading that. I was an avid quizzer, and I used to love planes, so I remember reading about it. And fortunately, I'm so privileged to have you all here, Ma'am Nivedita and yourself. I mean, I would never imagine in my life that I could get an opportunity to meet you all. And I really thank everyone who's been a part of this initiative today, ma'am. Yes, I get very
I
emotional when I hear you, so just pardon my interjections.
No, not at all. On the contrary, when I said you are an aviation lawyer, when I didn't get a job as a pilot, I went back to studies after a break of 13 years to see how I can rise in my career. And so I went back to college and did my graduation, changed my subject from politics and economics as principles to sociology and psychology, and did my honors in BA. Then I joined law. I went to the Government Law College in Bombay, and I was looking for aviation law. If I can't become a pilot, at least I can relate to aviation in some manner. And when I saw you were an aviation lawyer, I had a question for you. When did you do your aviation law? Because in the 75, 76, there was no subject as aviation law. So I opted for public international law and maritime and all that. There was no aviation law subject. I would ask my mother that I couldn't join the Air Force. Was I born before time? Then when I went to aviation law, there was no subject. So my mother would say, no, you were not born before time. I had a full 9-month pregnancy. So and to convince one parent became easier for me and bully her a lot. Like when I went to NASIC on my conversion of my PPL, I did my first cross country solo, and here I was coming into landing, and I'm seeing that, like, I used to fly at Juhu Flying Club, 0 feet sea level, and NASIC had an elevation, field elevation, and I'm trying my altimeter to come to 0, and here I'm seeing the ground rushing to me. I immediately made a correction that, oh, I am on an elevated airfield. Otherwise, I would have killed myself by just to come in, going by the instruments. So you need a lot of presence of mind, and
Right.
it's amazing. It's amazing, Yeah. So then every air chief, every defense minister we met, we would convince them. But finally it worked. And see today, where the women are in India, women are fighter pilot. And as Harpreet said, our president of the Indian Women Pilots Association, today they say that India has got the highest percentage of women pilots. They want to raise it from 15 to 25 in 25, 26 years.
So, ma'am, whenever you travel in a plane and you see a woman's pilot, don't you feel very, very satisfied and joyful inside to to have lived a life where you were a significant contributor to that? And how do you feel every time you see a woman pilot? What are the things that come to your mind or come to your heart?
It feels so good. It feels so such a pleasure. Like, see how where women have risen to. Not only women pilots. When I was traveling from here to US on my flight, here was Sunita Williams being
Oh,
escorted to the aircraft. I said,
right.
"Gee, I've got to meet her." So I sent her my card, and she invited me to her seat
Oh,
next to her, and I traveled with her for a while and spoke to her, and I told her. Then she came to the Nehru Science Center to address the students on JRD Tata Day. We celebrate every year. So Sunita Williams was there, and our IWPA members were there. Captain Sangeeta was there. They met Sunita Williams, and she recalled that I had met her in the aircraft while traveling from Bombay to US.
wow.
So and imagine, like, with Kalpana Chawla and all,
Mm-hmm.
she went to the space, and so that is, and today also, how when I see these Air Force ladies, I really feel so delighted that at least we helped others to come forward and have the spirit and see what aviation is like, totally male dominated. They did not even allow women to join the defense academies. Like, in Pune,
Oh,
there's a defense academy.
right.
Now they have opened the doors to that also. So it's awesome. It's an awesome experience. If I could not do it, at least we were able to open the doors for the
Right.
rest of them.
And I think the step that you mentioned, that every chief you would make representations, I think that was one action which really sustained the momentum towards building the opportunities for the women. And we are so thankful for the entire team of women who did that for us. And I think we are at the close of the session. I would like the participants to ask their questions. So I open the floor now, Harpreet.
Sure.
Harpreet, are you on mute? I think. Would you want to have a conversation with Mohini ma'am? Harpreet, you're on mute. Okay. Lynn, would you want to go next? Lynn, are you there?
Hi, Mohini ma'am. Thank you so much. It was a lovely session. It was lovely listening to both. It was very nice. And I think like I'm like all of us, our entire council and all the women in the field of aviation, space, and now we are running into international security as well. And even in the government now, everywhere, like they are opening doors to women, but still there are a lot of barriers. Like even when I was working there, I was the first female SME at the government, but there's a lot of gender discrimination still there, like it's not so easy. A lot of issues still which could be worked on. So yeah, but I'm really grateful that in the past, like ma'am and others like her, the entire team worked to at least give us access or get us, that opportunity today, what we have to join such places also, because earlier, as ma'am said, it was closed. So we keep fighting for this, like the fight is on still, like everywhere. Even I've been fighting, even I've been mailing everywhere, escalating things everywhere, because they are not very accepting of women still in the country, especially. So yeah, I just wanted to say that thank you so much for everything, and we're still working on it. Yeah, thank you, Rak.
Thank you. Ma'am Nivedita, it's a pleasure to have you. Would you want to share a word with us?
Oh, well, all I can say is that I get my daily dose of motivation from Mohini
Oh,
every
lovely.
single day. Even though I met her yesterday, I think it was day before I met her in Bombay. It's just, I don't know, I really, she's a powerhouse of energy. And every day it seems that she's getting younger in her mind, the way she talks to everybody, the way she motivates the young girls. So I want to ask you, Mohini, though I've known you, I think almost 50 years, maybe not 50 years, at least 45 years I've known you. What keeps you
When you were
going?
16.
Yes, yes. What keeps you going every single day? Every single day. And I see you, you're always on your feet. You're walking continuously, you're thinking, you're writing, and you're smiling. So tell us, give us some words of wisdom so that we may live up and be like you one day.
Flying gets into your bloodstream, that keeps you young.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fact. But I think you're so positive. You're so focused on a lot of things. I think all the young girls should follow her footsteps, and we really have a pioneer and a role model in her. So thank you for talking to us and sharing about your life and your family and your studies, and of course, flying. Thank you. Thanks, Rakhee.
Thank you. And we look
Thank
forward
you.
to having you as well with us, Ma'am Nivedita. And
Yes, yes.
any more questions from the other participants? We are open for another, I think, 2 minutes. We can keep the session on. So please take this opportunity to converse with Mohini ma'am. Anyone else?
Rakhee, I just wanted to say I've shared the images in the chat in case anyone wants to go through it, what you shared with me.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So I'll just open the chat and let's see. Uh, okay. So how do I share it? Yeah. So if you open the chat, I think this is visible to everyone, right? So we have put the images that Mohini ma'am has shared with us. Okay. So that's she with a plane. Then there are some articles, and then she is with our late president, Abul Kalam. Then she is being awarded by the Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, I think, right?
We are felicitating him.
Yeah, okay, okay. Then there is another one with all, and there you can see people with, ladies with sari. So can you describe this picture a bit more, Mohini ma'am?
Which one? That's Rabia Fateh Ali,
Yes.
Chanda Buddhavati,
Okay.
Mm. Yes.
and
Yes.
Sunila Bhadekar, if I'm not mistaken, myself. Four of us are there.
Oh, lovely. Okay. And which is this aircraft and where are you exactly?
At the Bombay Flying Club, this is a Piper Super Cup. It's a tail dragger. It's a classic aircraft, more than 50 years old. And
Okay.
it's a little more difficult than the Cessna to fly, which has
Okay.
got a nose wheel. This has got a tail wheel.
Okay.
Piper Super Cup, PA-18.
Lovely. Lovely.
Rakhee Nandana Shri from the audience had her hand raised.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Hi, Rakhi.
Hi.
And good evening, everybody. This
Yeah,
I'm actually Nandanashri Gitanjali. Good evening, Nivita ma'am. Good evening, Mohini ma'am.
thank you. Good
Mhm.
And
evening.
Mohini ma'am, I've already known your story, and it was nice to hear you again. And every time I meet you, yes, the same words exactly ditto what Captain Nivita just told about you. You are actually a phenomenon. You phenomenon actually. You have
Thank
achieved unconditionally. You have done for the upliftment of women pilots, establishing this IWPA, and further on giving scholarships, and continuing. You're still doing, and you are into aviation. In every aspect of aviation you are participating. I see even Captain Harpreet ma'am also putting up photos of all the Aeronautical Society of India and everywhere. It's commendable, and not commendable, but it's actually, we should actually learn, all of us, somewhere or the other. We get so dragged by our own family lives or something, and we don't come up. We should have that kind of a spirit the way you have, to carry on with other aspects of aviation, which really, and with all this, I would suggest that if our CPL license could have been, if it can be converted into a degree, that is one thing which I really want, if IWPA take it up with the ministry and try to do this. That's another one which is a hurdle which is still to be done. I mean, still to be, I don't know, conquered or something like that. I feel, Hannah,
Yeah,
that
I
is what.
create a thought, it happens. It will happen.
Yeah, I hope so. But I mean, when we everybody with from plus two going as a doctor or as a engineer or as a NDA, they come up with degrees after which after 12th standard. So this license should be considered as a degree, because it's equally the same amount and more amount of money spent, and the same amount of years spent, and equally it's the today's world, the way we study our subjects are more difficult than what we used to study in our times, so I feel the youngsters should be given the degree instead of just a license. It's very demeaning to have only a license. It should be a license plus a degree, that way. Though
Good
we have
idea.
this aviation, yeah, though we have this aviation, BSc aviation, but there's hardly anything extra in that. Like, we just have study navigation and all the four papers of CPL. We don't study aviation law. We don't study airport management, cargo aircrafts. There's so many other, like ICAO has so many other aspects of studies of aviation. We should start having those kind of things even in India with flying clubs. Flying
Yeah.
clubs should start giving those as a side. We used to call it as ancillary subjects. We should study that.
Yeah.
But
University, aviation university.
yes, that's right. Aviation University. We should have that. And all these universities which we have, one or two, they do give BSc in aviation, but then they should have more of it in the entire department, like biomedical or, like anthropology or science. So aviation itself should have more subjects other than meteorology, navigation, and, regulations and all that way.
Rakhee will take up as an aviation lawyer.
Yeah, so what we are trying to do is my firm and Dhirubhai Ambani University have launched a, executive
I saw
education
that. There's a
development
lot of
program.
ads. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
There's a lot of ads coming up in the Instagram, and I keep wondering that is it, is it fake or is it
No, no,
true?
it's not fake. There is a EDP program. We do one leg in Toulouse, and we have two sessions coming up. One in Hamburg in Germany, and one of the Boeing whistleblowers and one of the person who represented the passengers in the Lockerbie and the Concorde crashes is going to teach there. So
Ah,
have good
okay.
faculty that we get from all over the world. So what we do is we have sessions abroad and we have sessions in India. We did one in November in Delhi where a lot of working professionals from the aviation industry and DGCA had come, and we
Mm-hmm.
had professors who had come down from France to teach. And
Mm-hmm.
so basically, I had studied aviation law in France, so I am trying to kind of
Oh.
bring the expertise to India
Yeah.
in collaboration with universities and other law firms and my own personal initiative. So there are two sessions this year which are going to happen in one in Hamburg and one in Toulouse in the month of
Yeah.
May. June, and we'll do one in India. So we are trying to bring the expertise to people in India because
Oh,
all of these topics that you have spoken about, we still don't find a lot of even relevant teacher or relevant subject matter expert. So that's my
oh,
little contribution that I'm trying to do. So if you need to know anything more about these programs, there's also an LLM program in aviation law which has been started by this university.
okay. I
So
have, yeah, I have actually written, showed my interest to talk to them. I've submitted my interest to this
okay,
Mani University for Law.
okay,
But there are many other, like, GMR out here in Delhi. They have these cargo management,
yes,
fire,
yes,
and, airport management. There are so many subsidiary subjects which
yes,
a person who, suppose a pilot who does not cannot fly tomorrow, medically unfit,
right,
so
right,
he or she can will be able to do something
right, right,
else,
right,
in the same field,
right.
instead of being totally blank that we can't do anything else other than this,
Right, right.
in
And you
that way.
brought up a very valid point that there is an alternate sort of employment for the ex-pilots is also something which needs a lot of focus now, right? Because the numbers are going to be high. And
Yeah.
as we get into more, advanced stages of India's economy, there will be a churn.
Huh.
So you're very right that this is an area that needs focus as well. So let's
Hmm.
collaborate. If you have ideas, we have ideas. We can, just bump off the ideas and do something about it. Feel free to write
Yes.
me. And Harpreet is also there, and we have, two organizations backing us. So I'm sure we can do a lot of stuff together.
Yes, and I wish, like, Mohini ma'am's word, which came out as a university, aviation university, that will be one of its kind, actually speaking. And it is not that it cannot happen. Aviation, and with women pilots, and the aviation industry is such. I mean, we have got. I come from Orissa, so our Chief Minister, late Biju Patnaik, had also started Kalinga Airlines in the state, but it did not really flourish a lot. At the same time, like Mr. J.R.D. Tata had started. But so when we have these kind of people starting airlines, so many now are coming up. So why can't we have established the way Air India now has established an academy of its, its like the one which is available in Egypt or anywhere else. We have now started Air India Academy. Similarly, we should have a university, totally like either government or private, only catering for aviation subjects. Like IGRO also is almost like one of it, but IGRO itself has got flying and subjects. But
Yeah.
people who don't want to do flying and want to only study aviation, it can cover ATC, it can cover
Right, right.
anything, so many other aspects.
So, Nandina Shri, what I would request is keep that thought with you and let's explore outside of this conversation how we can work on it, right? Together
Yes,
with organizations. And
yeah.
I have a hard stop, so we are already, 15 minutes over.
Okay, okay, okay,
So,
okay, okay, okay.
is it okay if we continue here now?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do I have everyone's permission to conclude it now?
Sure.
Thank you, Mohini ma'am. Thank you, Nivedita ma'am.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
all
me.
the participants who joined. Thank you, Harpreet. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain
Bye-bye.
Nivita. See
Thank
you
you.
sometime
Bye.
again.
Thank you. Thank you, Nandana Sri.
Gitanjali, you can.
Anjali. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.